Again in studio, this time about theory but also about reality. Having a good theory is actually very important so you can build a better company or better brand, or after all, a better computer language. The software, it's not easy, and to build computer language for a simple software is 100% extremely difficult. For sure, you can use simple Java, but it's not easy to build program that will also benefit women that have crazy idea what they want to do with themselves. There are different instruction on the web, but probably most of people is sleeping when they are thinking about what to build in their company, so they must also look for the instruction. Most of people look for wrong instruction, and also it's not easy to provide for them simple Java and to understand the buttons on forums made with Java. There are different compilers, but do not mess compilers together with sleeping, or how community is sleeping every day, and how community ignore simple strategy with JavaScript and making different forums for the models. There are different forms of models for empowering different careers, but of course it's not easy to build simple form of code. There is also psychology with how much community is actually sleeping in politics and how they could not actually support with finance the technology sector. Whatever the politics do are not able to support the people. So of course everything in politics probably sleeping or theory. Technology in leading, of course, it's not leading at all. And sometimes you must forget everything and you must forget the attention that women want. Women want emotion and attention. And of course, that's unrelated to intelligence. But the boys sometimes also are the same, especially those that wanna want more fame or to want to be more known. Also women and also boys. To be more known, it's not intelligence, and it's very important to be aware of that. To have a better perception of different type of community and different category, and also the climate change and how the company is moving, it's very important. To build theory till the zero is very important if you have a lot of wealth. So you are going to think about psychology and also the therapy or even the charity organization. The casual meaning of psychology is not simple, and of course, it can build personality. There are different functions in technology, in surface, but that's not related to brain or brain behavior. You must understand that neuroscience is very complex when it comes how much sleep do you need in one day, and some people do not sleep a lot. Psychology is very important, and the doctors do not understand psychology because they are not leading the company or anything psychological, but they are just observing like around 1000 clients. But if you have a technology company, you can observe more millions of clients, and that's not simple. You can see how people behave or how tired they are sometimes. But psychology is actually very important if you are building different blocks or tools. So you see what type of tools community need. The whole empire of tools it's not as much important, but you can also build book and that's a tool itself. The social psychology might be slightly slipping together with community and cyber threats that people think that are real, but probably that's just biology. Biology, some sort of biology that people respond on and people compare to different things, and people want more development, and they are afraid then of cyber things, and people sometimes so afraid they forget that community on the web is important, and People also forget the culture is important because they want more and more and more. But the book sometimes it's the basic ethic for all the world and all the evolution, because also simple forms of psychology go together with ethics and personality, or what you can build together with simple book and ethics. There is also psychometrics and different forms of personality that people can become if you understand simple forms of community. The psychodrama is extremely complex when it comes to any type of book or thinking, and it's very important to understand every process that go together with agent from agent to agent. And that's slightly also 50% of intelligence, that you understand how to distribute different things or code with other teams. The different forms of human activity are usually very, very difficult, especially for women, because they want to make children. From that case, in community, the woman should be under therapy all the time and also not too much in coding. Of course, women can practice other forms, making different pictures, which are also important for the therapy. The psychotherapy in community is very important, but it's also very important in any type of sound or noise. If you know any instrument, of course, you can also benefit from that in psychotherapy. The adventure therapy, of course, that's for couples, and the couples need some sort of adventure therapy because being a couple, probably you'll need a lot of adventure and a lot of therapy. Analysis are not simple, and if there are any type of story or streets, you need to do different type of analysis. Of course, the therapy can also go together with art, but it's not easy if you put art together with medicine. Then you again need the therapy and building a better community with different forums. With code, you can also code the biofeedback, which is extremely complex. And most of society is sleeping about that. Of course, you can also build the code with psychometrics or bonding. There is also the brief psychotherapy or classical therapy. It is not easy to understand simple forms or even simple music. To understand simple forms of electrics is also not simple. The word family therapy, of course, is simple therapy, and it's for all humans because all humans are my family. As a family, we are all poor together. It is very important to apply psychology to different forums and economics. And also, psychology for law. Is that law still healthy for society, or it's just a junk? The psychology about legal things is very important, especially if you are coding or if you are supporting the banks. Psychology in banks, of course, can build better platforms, especially if you are working with simple bitcoins. The social psychology is dealing with different forms of dogs or animals, but also with cats and other animals. And of course, there is also some sort of fiction, what is real in code or what is not real in code. Usually, there are different forms of behavior once you are coding, and of course, everything can be related to neuroscience. The program of psychology is necessary if you are building some sort of community. There is also the social behavior that women have, but also the men have their specific behavior because they want to stay men. Transparency on the website are very important, and do not think that coding is the most important for attention. Probably you should explore emotions. The emotions are very important. The emotions also include different type of couple and their pleasure or even displeasure. If you study more of psychology, you'll see there are different temperament and different personality. and different dispositions, but also the code with mode are even intertwined. Sociology is extremely complex, and if you're going to serve more than 1,000 users, you'll see they have different emotions. People also have emotions about science or about computer science. It's the same like people have emotion about medicine. People think that they are doing something, but probably they are sleeping. People just look for survival. And if you are looking for survival on a higher level or to build a simple theory about fortune, probably you need to start coding. If you are a woman, you should join a team or a company where you can actually own a percent of company, or you can actually buy part of team that's going to award you every day. Social interactions in company are extremely complex and psychological. It is not easy to understand sociology if you are looking to it from different type of value. In company, there are certain emotions that exist in every category in company or every sector. Of course, there is also curiosity and different moods in company. On media, there is a lot of pain. So if you have a simple company, you should actually avoid media as much as you can. On media, you are only going to find different type of expressions. Expressions like happy, excited, tender, or scared, or angry, or even sad. There are even different type of amusement. People want to build sympathy on the media, but that's actually not possible. And experience on media is extremely limited. On media, you can also see amusement, anger, anxiety, awe, being awkward, boredom, calmness, confusion, and all of those are related to psychology, also carrying disgust, empathic pain, entrancement, excitement or fear, even horror if you are looking some movie. To think about virtue from different forums, it's not simple, and sometime on the beginning you do not find anything important. The real programs are on the end, and to understand that is very, very important usually. To understand law, it's actually to understand the code well, and if you think too much about the truths, probably you'll have millions of problems. A lot of people think about the justice, but justice is actually just a psychology. If you have a good evolved psychology, you might also look for a different forms of Egypt or how they were looking on things, but also looking on medicine or being fair. It is not easy to understand different wisdom type or different forms of simple bravery, but also about sharing ethics with others. On some point, all leaders need ethics and they will need some psychology to adjust or to add their current psychology or the law that politics are building in world. But psychology and simple forms of virtue are very important and most of people forget on it and they are just working and sleeping and of course also eating. For models, it's very important to purify themselves, and of course, all other brands should serve models to some point because models can also represent other company or brands to some point because they are sharing their outlooks. So the other citizens can benefit. It is very important to have some discipline if you are building different programs or software and also some sort of dignity. A lot of people could not wait a 10 minute more and they end with different type of films or different type of entering different company. If you do not surrender on the first 2 3 minutes, then you can actually achieve more. Do not expect that from women. The women are very self-centered and they respect themselves and probably They are going to shop more in different type of drugstore or different type of cosmetics. But if you understand yourself as a simple businesswoman, of course, you are also have some time to look for different films that can actually build your excellence, and that is not easy. Most of other people, not only women's but also men's, they are only building faith, and sometimes that's the same like sleeping lifestyle. The degree of horror in films, it's not simple if you look on reality of life, because in reality there is also a lot of problems that people have. Humanity, it's not simple, and to think about humanity from the code point, the code do not care a lot about humanity. But if you apply ethics films, the humanity can be much better. The code is only serving technology and programs, including software and apps. But to build civilization, you need ethics. The ethics are in book, are in the culture, and to forget all the joy, you must build more and more and more ethics, but not too much application to politics or human beings, because it's very important to be impersonal with any type of health development in world, and to be very pure. To understand religions together with different forms of people, it's not easy. It's very complex to build different contracts with strangers. It is not easy to build different community type for different forums or for different groups, or to work with different type of mans that are coding. Of course, me also hope that world and every city is going to build a better health system, and that is not possible without solid yoga knowledge and also simple forms of teachers. But it's also important to defend yoga, and also not to be too much personal with everyone that want to do some new things. It is very important to build some simple charity for people also, and charity is extremely complex. To build charity together with love, it's not easy, and love usually is extremely difficult. There are different concepts about charity. Some concepts are very good, and some concepts are not very good. It is not easy to understand different forms of will in life and what do you want to do with your life. But sometimes it's also important to build humility. The humility is actually very important, and with humility, you can actually build better designs. With better designs, you can actually build better science. And with better science, you can actually build better materials. With better materials, you can actually build better rooms, better houses, or better neighborhoods. To have a lot of self concentration in life every day, it's very important. But it's also important not to feel guilty if other people are practicing different forms of religions or different forms of very strange things. Psychology is actually very important, and it's very important to understand simple forms of worth, and also very simple forms of descriptions or different type of programs. Do not think too much about people and what people think, because if you are thinking about other people, probably you are thinking about politics.